Welcome to the Basic Resume Virtual Workshop in partnership with Seattle Public Library. My name is Liana, and I'm an embedded career specialist at WorkSource South Seattle College. Before we get started, be sure to check out more videos and workshops at spl.org and worksourcewa.com. Now, let's review the agenda. In this workshop, you will learn the purpose and goal of a resume, what information to gather before writing the resume, the different resume components, hard skills versus soft skills, the different type of resume formats. We'll also review frequently asked questions, and I'll provide some resources to help jumpstart building your resume. Your resume is the most financially important document you'll ever own. So it's really important that you treat it as a living document. For example, let's say you got a promotion at work. Go ahead and make note of that and add the promotion to your resume. Therefore, when it comes time for you to move forward in your career path, you won't find yourself overwhelmed with trying to catch up and trying to remember what you did at that job. So you always want to treat it as a living document because it's one of the most financially important documents that you'll ever own. So resume purpose and resume goal. The purpose of a resume is to provide a snapshot of your skills, abilities, and accomplishments relevant to the job. The goal of a resume is to land an interview. It sounds pretty simple, but it's really important that you remember what the purpose and the goal of a resume. So therefore, when you find yourself applying for multiple jobs and not hearing anything back from employers, take the time to, stop what you're doing and make sure that your resume is in alignment with the purpose and the goal. So what should you gather before the resume? Let's be transparent. Writing a resume can be a bit of an overwhelming task. And part of the reason for this is because many job seekers do not prepare themselves in advance. You can avoid a lot of stress that comes along with resume writing if you gather the appropriate information in advance. So once you have it all in one place, you can simply refer to it as you build your resume. In fact, it may be helpful to break the process into two separate parts. In the first part, you will take the time necessary to find all the relevant information. In the second part, you will actually use this information to put together your resume. Now, in the next section, we'll explore the different resume components. All right, so let's explore what to mention on your resume. This includes resume components. On most resumes, what you'll see is contact information, a resume summary, employment history, education, and skills. We're going to explore each resume component and learn a little bit more about, how you can begin to build your resume components and what to include in each section. Contact information. When it comes to your contact information, you always want to include your first name and your last name, a contact number, an email address, and location. What if I'm relocating to a new state? So if you're relocating to a new state, you want to go ahead and include the state that you're going to be moving to, as long as it's in a timely manner. And what I mean by that, let's say you're moving within the next 2 to 3 weeks and you're doing some job search. It is totally okay to go ahead and put that city and state at the top. Now, if you're moving within a year, then you may want to just include the city and state that you're currently in, or go ahead and make a note for the employer to be able to review at the top in parentheses that you're going to be moving within a certain time frame. Common resume mistakes that I often see are that individuals are adding their date of birth, they're using an unprofessional email address, and they're providing unrequested headshot. Some optional resume add-ons are a title, and your professional title could be your position word for word or your desired job. So sometimes on resumes, what you'll see at the top is someone put, welder or fabrication welder. That's the title of the job that they want, or either that is the industry they're currently working in. So it's totally okay to add a professional title at the top of your resume, but it does not go before your contact information. It goes under it. Also, you can include your LinkedIn URL. So if you have an up-to-date profile that can add value to your application, be sure to include the link. This goes for social media, websites, or blog. If you have a published portfolio online, or if you have a online presence that is relevant to your industry, go ahead and include that information on your resume. Hard skills versus soft skills. Hard skills are teachable abilities or skill sets that are easy to quantify. That is going to be proficiency in a foreign language, a degree or certification, your typing speed, machine operation, computer programming. Soft skills, also known as people skills or interpersonal skills, are going to be more on the side of communication, flexibility, leadership, teamwork, time management. You see the difference between the two? Now let's talk about a resume summary. Some may know this section as an objective, but let's go over what a resume summary is. A resume summary highlights professional skills and experience, helps organize and focus years of relevant job experience, demonstrates job seekers' unique value through their skills and accomplishments, and it's also a place for you to put those key words that are often found in the job description. This section is also referred to by many other names, including a career summary, professional summary, summary of experience, qualifications summary, and competencies. In the box, I provided an example of a summary. Take some time to read over it. Creative graphic artist with 5 years of experience working with top brands using Adobe Illustrator, Photoshop, and other Adobe Suite software. Your employment history should detail your previous jobs and explain what you achieved in each position. It should clearly demonstrate why you're a good fit for the job that you're applying. Your employment history tells hiring managers how long you typically stay in one job, whether you've been consistently promoted, what tasks you have experience with, the quantifiable benefits that you've brought to previous employers. So how to write the employment history section. You want to be sure to list your jobs in order, include the name and location of company, provide your job title, specify the dates of employment, list your most important accomplishments and responsibilities, and highlight awards and honors. So what you see here is pretty much how you can format your employment history on your resume. You can include your title, the company, the city and the state, the start to end date, and under it, achievements and tasks. Right below the format example is an example of how you would actually word it. And what I did is provided an example of my actual resume. Education. You can identify the best place to put your education on your resume by carefully reading job descriptions. This will help you understand whether certain levels of education are nice to have or unnecessary for each role. What information to include? You want to include the name of your school, location of your school, the degree you obtained, if applicable, your field of study, graduation year, if applicable, and your GPA. You also want to go ahead and list off any relevant honors or awards, including projects or coursework that you may have taken. All right, so we've reviewed all of the resume components, and at glance, this is what it would look like if you were to put all the information together. So take some time to review what we went over and take note. Resume formats. In this section, we will explore different resume formats. The first resume format we're going to explore is called a chronological resume. A chronological resume is a resume format that prioritizes relevant professional experiences and achievements. Chronological resumes are one of 3 common resume formats. It's the most common resume format, and it focuses on work experience. It provides details on the companies you've worked for and length of employment at each job, starting with your current or most recent job. The next resume format is a functional resume. A functional resume is a type of resume format that highlights skills and abilities as opposed to the chronological order of experience. Functional resumes place your skills center stage. Because this format downplays work history and brings marketable abilities to the forefront, it's great for people new to the workforce, those with gaps in their employment history, or job seekers embarking on a career change. And last is the combination resume. This format emphasizes both skills and accomplishments in recent work history. It combines the functional format's focus on skills with the chronological format's detailed work history. It's the best of both worlds approach, and it works best for career changers as well as seasoned professionals who have worked in similar positions. All right, so now that we've had the opportunity to review all 3 different resume formats, let's begin to look at how the different sections are prioritized on these resumes. So when you think of a chronological resume, the focus is going to be work experience. The focus for a functional resume is going to be skills. And the focus for a combination resume is going to be skills and work experience. Now, when it comes to work experience, you're going to see work experience at the top of a chronological resume because it is highly relevant. For a functional resume, you will see work experience at the bottom because it's less relevant. In a combination resume, you will see work experience in the middle because it is relevant. Skills section. On a chronological resume, the skills section is going to be in the middle. It is relevant. In a functional resume, the skills section is going to be at the top because a functional resume is a skills-focused resume. When you think of a combination resume, the skills section is going to be at the top because it's also relevant. Now, the main advantage of a chronological resume is that it's easy to read and it's universal. When you think about a functional resume's main advantage, it conceals flaws in work history. And the main advantage of a combination resume is that it emphasizes and validates your skills. Check below to see who it's good for and not ideal for. In the next section, we will review frequently asked questions. Frequently asked questions. So now we're going to review the commonly asked questions when it comes to building a resume. How long should my resume be? Limiting your resume to 1 to 2 pages is probably best. However, it is important that you include all the information that you feel is relevant to your job hunt. What should be included in my resume? Your resume needs to provide employers with a well-rounded idea of your professional experience and career to date, highlighting all your relevant skills and achievements. Should my resume be written chronologically or functionally? Your resume format really depends on where you are in your career and the relevance of your past experience for the role you are applying for. How should I handle employment gaps? This really depends on how long ago it was for you. The reality is that, someone that's taken 3 years off, it's going to be a little bit more easy to conceal those gaps versus someone who has taken 5 or more years off. You may have to, begin to, focus on your skills versus that work experience to fill in the gaps. What if I have no experience? So if you've only just graduated or looking for your first job, you may feel like you don't have any work experience to list on your resume. So this is a good time to show compassion and elaborate on the skills that you've developed throughout education or non-professional experiences. You want to provide a list of all your qualifications, hobbies, and past projects that have allowed you to develop transferable skills that make you equipped for the job. Should I tailor my resume? Yes. What works for one role may not work for another. So making alterations to your resume for a particular role can boost your chances of being considered for the job. You can do this by reordering information on your resume so that the most relevant experience is highest up on the document, or by rewording info so that keywords used in the job description roughly match up to the requirements with the experience that you possess. Now we're going to move on to some free resources. All right, so before we head out, I want to provide you with some free resources. The first is going to be JobScan and JobScan Learning Center. JobScan is a web service that helps job seekers land more interviews by using algorithms used in top applicant tracking systems to analyze one's resume or LinkedIn profile against any job description. So pretty much it enhances your opportunities to landing an interview. Indeed Career Guide. Indeed Career Guide provides you career advice on how to find a job, write your resume and cover letter, how to ace that interview, along with finding a new job and choosing a career path. It has assessment tests for you to take, a lot of information and articles for you to check out when it comes to building your career. WorkSource Wall. WorkSource Wall is a good place to sign up for career readiness workshops and hiring events. It also has a lot of other information such as unemployment benefits and healthcare benefits. Seattle Public Library. The Seattle Public Library gives you 24/7 access to free books, classes online, and a whole online learning platform. WOIS, the Careers Information System. Now, this platform provides career and college planning tools, giving you access to more than 600 detailed career descriptions. It has hundreds of detailed college training program descriptions, ranging from short-term certificate programs to even receiving your PhD. So it's a good place to begin to map out your career along with your education. Also note that if you have any questions regarding WOIS, to please contact the Seattle Public Library, and they can definitely help you navigate the webpage and answer any questions you may have. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to attend this virtual workshop. Again, my name is Leona Lee, and I'm an Embedded Career Specialist at WorkSource South Seattle College. Please see the services that we offer below, and feel free to schedule a virtual one-on-one today via email at worksource@seattlecolleges.edu. We also have drop-in hours via Zoom at southseattle.edu/worksource. And note, all services are free.